Hello my loves, it's Liz Ann here from High Vibes Life, helping you make the rest of your life the best of your life. And if you haven't already, please subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. In this video, I want to talk to you about personal boundaries, what they are, and how to become your own boundary police. To begin with, I want you to think about the boundaries around your country, what they are for, and how they are enforced. So boundaries around a country are a borderline that divides us from other countries. The boundary police are put there to check your identity, to check whether you qualify to come into the country or not, to let you know how long you can stay and what they will tolerate while you're there. And so basically laws that if you don't abide by, you're going to be escorted back out of the country. So now let's take this idea of boundary police for the country and apply it to our personal boundaries, to your life. So first of all, a boundary is a dividing line. It is what divides you from me. It's what separates us. And what are those things that make us different? What is that boundary line? What separates us? Number one is our body. We do not share the same body. Number two is our preferences. Number three is our perspective. There is never two perspectives that are identical. It's impossible. And number four is our truth. So my truth is definitely going to be different from your truth just by virtue that my perspective is different from your perspective because my life is different from your life. So those are the things that divide my life from your life. The second definition of a boundary is a threshold. So it is your limits. And your limits for what? Number one is for respect, so for how people behave or treat you. That is so important. Just like the boundary police keep out or kick out people that are not obeying the laws and respecting the laws, so in our personal boundaries, we need to have people respecting our personal laws. So the other threshold is our space, and the third threshold is our time. So our space is who we let into our life, who we let into our home, and our time is how much time we allow them to spend there. So in order for you to get really comfortable with your boundaries and how to be your boundary police, I would like you to do the following exercise. I would like you to take a journal or a piece of paper and a pen and to write down what your personal boundaries are according to the outline that I just gave you. What divides you from somebody else and why? What is your threshold? What will you tolerate and not tolerate? Make sure that when you go into thinking about respect, that is kind of the overarching, the most important part of your boundary, is that people need to respect your preferences, your body, your perspective, and your truth. Like for instance, your body. Your body is yours and yours alone. It is yours to inhabit and experience this life in. It is yours for your pleasure, not for somebody else's. It is yours to decide whether or not somebody else touches it, whether or not you're going to share pleasure with somebody else. That is yours to decide. In fact, even a spouse doesn't have a right to your body. In marriage, we give a certain amount of permission to touch and caress one another, but still you have that right to say no at any given time. It is your body. Once you understand what your threshold is in each of these areas and what your boundary lines are in each of these areas, then it's time to enforce it, to become your boundary police. And the best way to do that is just to practice saying no. And to get better at that, I would like you to watch my video on the superpower of no. So even when you do this exercise, sometimes if you haven't been used to enforcing boundaries in your life, if you've been from a home where you were abused, your boundaries were literally obliterated at a very young age, and you might not even know how to discern your boundaries. So one of the practices I used that really helped me a lot was I started asking when something made me feel uncomfortable. If the tables were turned, would I treat this person the same way? If the tables were turned, would I talk to this person in that way? Would I ask that person those questions? Would I do what that person is doing to me? If the tables are turned, would I do that to them? And if I can roundly and soundly say, hell no, then I know that my boundaries are being crossed. In the beginning, when you start to reinforce your boundaries, it's okay to go overboard until you get used to where your boundaries are and standing up for yourself and not tolerating people crossing those boundaries. After a while, this will kind of calm down, but it'll come naturally. It won't just be that you're just kind of letting people slip in again. It'll be more that you will be so clear and so confident in where your boundaries are that you're not going to be so rigid about it. But in the beginning, you will be a little rigid, and that's okay. So I hope this has been a helpful video for you. I would love to hear in the comments any areas where you struggle with boundaries, or times and places where you have been able to start implementing boundaries that you didn't have in the beginning. And thank you for listening to this video, and if it's been helpful for you, please give it a thumbs up. Have a good day.